Could Jesus Chan who's she?
Just strut down stage.
Yeah.
Hey, Andrew.
Hey, Ellie.
Oh, it's the monthly Showstopper podcast where we talk to people from all over the world of musical theatre and comedy.
It's a pleasure every time. How are you doing, Ali?
Yeah, really well, thank you. I'm really excited about today's guest because, well, she's a lady after my own heart in terms of her comedy, singing and acting ability.
Absolutely. Katie Pritchard, whom you know personally.
Yeah, we've worked together, fortunately, twice this year now. I've been doing some movement with her on her upcoming Edinburgh show. Listen out for details about that. And also, we are working on a show called A Jaffa Cake Musical, would you believe? Listen out for details about that one too.
I think you're a very busy person at the moment.
I like to run around as much as possible. I've invested in some great trainers and
Right.
and I feel like being speedy in life is good.
Yeah, great. You have the tempo of a mouse, a heart beating at quite a rate, and always involved in activity.
It's true, yeah. I do try and balance it as much as possible because life's all about balance, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know,
What do you balance that with?
Just sort of sleeping.
Fine. You're on in mouse mode,
Yeah.
running around, and then you go home and collapse.
In my mouse house. There's a dynamic scale, but there are only two dynamics, really, to the
Yeah.
way I do things. How about you? How many tempos would you say you have? What's your
I'm
spectrum
very
like?
analog. Ali.
Okay.
I just go between different speeds, depending what's appropriate for the situation.
That's great. Actually, I have noticed that about you. You're really chameleon-esque like that.
Do you think?
Yeah, it's a real skill I'd like to learn, actually. Sometimes you need a different hat, don't you? You've got to put a bit of a different energy on for different situations.
Well, yeah, I have a lot of hats. That is one thing I can definitely say.
Sounds like an amazing Showstopper set piece where we might all come on and fling different hats at you and make you improvise their function.
Great.
In fact, let's do it tonight.
We recorded this chat with Katie Pritchard backstage in the West End before one of our West End gigs. Duncan Walsh-Atkins, musical supervisor, was in the room on keys and joining us for chat.
We really hope you enjoy the discussion with lovely Katie.
Please enjoy it, because we spent a lot of time recording it,
A lot of blood, sweat and tears.
just for you to turn it off halfway through. What's that about?
Come on,
on.
give us a chance, people.
Please, it's hardly started yet. Let's have a listen. Welcome, Katie Pritchard.
Hello.
Hi. Oh, what a
Hello.
pleasure to have you, Katie.
Thanks for having me, Ali.
Katie Pritchard, you are an incredible actor, comedian. I mean, are there any pies you don't have your fingers in? It's just incredible.
I've been told to stay away from violins, so that pie is not for me.
Wow. Did something specific happen with violins, or is it just a gut feeling?
Well, it all started in year 4 when I got the lowest score in the violin exam, and my teacher was very furious at me.
Oh, wow.
But I don't know if it's a family prank or not, but we have a whole room full of discarded violins from all my cousins who decided to gift them all to me to really hammer home the fact that this is the one instrument I cannot play.
Wow. So is there like a dusty attic of,
It's just
of
full of
violins,
violins.
that you're not allowed to play?
Various sizes, haunted.
That's beautiful.
Violin
Such a lovely
graveyard.
image.
Yeah,
Wow.
violin.
Are you allowed to play the violin, Duncan?
I did try and play the violin for a few years.
Oh.
And yeah, my mother wouldn't let me give up the piano, which
Okay.
is why I'm still here. But she did let me give up the violin because I don't think she could take it anymore.
Fair enough. And that's why you're not playing with the New York Phil currently.
Exactly, yes, yeah. I'd be quite intrigued to see your violin graveyard.
Oh yeah, you can see the graveyard. I thought you were going to say see me play it, and I thought I wouldn't wish that upon anybody.
But I mean, you are a multi-instrumentalist, aren't you? That is one of the few you don't play.
I am,
Can
yeah.
you tell us them?
I just play a bit of anything that's going, but not violins. Weirdly,
So
but
brilliant.
I have a special skill on the trumpet. I wouldn't say that I could play the trumpet, but no matter which valve I press, I can create a concert A, which apparently is impossible. So
Yeah, wow.
not useful. But if something is in the key that demands a concert A, I can press any key.
That's incredible. I mean, that literally defies the laws of physics.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what a skill.
That's amazing. And you told me once about your setup for auditions when you're going in for actor muso.
Oh yeah, I used to have a granny trolley, you know, that people take out shopping, and that'd be full to the brim, and then strapped onto that I'd have saxophones and guitars on my back. And yet still people wouldn't see me walking past. They'd still walk into me. It was quite wild. I was like, how many more things?
Yeah.
But it used to be hilarious trying to get into a room with 8 instruments.
That's a lot of chat beforehand with the panel, isn't it?
During whether they want it or not,
Yeah.
that's a long time in my presence while I'm setting up all of these instruments.
I have to say, I'm a big proponent of the shopping trolley. I think they're massively
They're great.
underused and unnecessarily stigmatized.
Yeah, it's true. There's a lot of they're a TARDIS.
We got nothing more to say to that. Yeah.
Aren't they? I mean, they are. They're a TARDIS of space.
Absolutely.
You know, with all their different sized pockets and little nooks and crannies.
Amazing how many children you can fit in them.
Exactly.
Maybe you should try that on the way to school, Duncan. It might be a good way to transport them.
Katie, let's go back, not to the beginning, so that we don't go over the trauma of your violin playing. But what got you into comedy and musical comedy in particular? Where did the bug start?
It was... it all started at 6 months old. Actually, that was my first job as an actor was a Baby Jesus.
Very nice.
Which my mum was petrified at because they didn't tell her, but the person playing Mary had to carry me up some scaffolding during the show. And the first time my mum found out was when she came to watch the show, and she's like, "Oh, that's my kid."
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But
This happened in the 80s, didn't it? That doesn't happen now. That never
won't be
happens
allowed
now.
It was a different time.
Yeah. Wow.
So yeah, I've always been performing and doing fun stuff. I got into comedy completely by accident because I was working on a big West End show as a swing, and on the days I wasn't on, I would get a little bit bored backstage. Sorry, unprofessional. And I started making some silly music videos in the dressing rooms during the shows. And every now and then some other cast members would join me, and I just released them on YouTube and pretended I thought I was a pop star. And then my friend who was in the show, she booked a cabaret night and put me on, and that was my first gig. And I don't actually have any memory of the gig. It's like I went into autopilot, but it was the most adrenaline that I'd had up until that point. So I was like, I gotta do it again. Whatever that was, I don't know what happened.
And so up to that point, and were you into being a musical theatre actor?
Well, at uni they asked us like, what's your future plans? And I'd always wanted, comedy was always on the list, but because people on TV aren't particularly young a lot of the time, especially like when I was growing up, they were had families. So I thought, you have to have life experience to be a comedian. So I'll probably do lots of acting, and then there'll be a patch where I won't be castable because there's no roles for people if you're a woman between certain ages, and then you can hit grandma age, and then there's some more roles. So I thought, in that gap, I'll do some comedy. But turns out that gap came quite early.
Yeah, great. And you've had some amazing experiences with your comedy shows. One is streaming right now, isn't it? Your Glitterball show.
My Disco Ball show's on ITVX right now and on British Airways in flight entertainment.
Oh my!
Which,
you're the face of Britain for people.
I'm not
travelling to and from.
Hopefully, it makes it a less anxious ride. I don't know. It's me being like, I'm a disco ball.
There's no airplane content.
No, fortunately. I did have a show once called Tsunami Rami Rami, which I did perform on a cruise ship. And it felt so wrong on a lot of levels.
Yeah.
And your shows that you take to Edinburgh and then you tour them sometimes, don't you?
Yeah, I just see where wants a show and then pop along and do a silly show. I haven't done an official tour, but hopefully one day that would be really fun to do, an official one. But I just kind of invade festivals.
Unofficially touring.
Yes, very much on the down low.
And are you going to Edinburgh this year?
I am, yeah. I'm taking a brand new show, which I haven't done a preview of yet. but that's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
At the time of recording, at the time people are listening to this, you'll have
I'll have done
tons of
at least one.
Yeah, there you go. And do you know what the show is yet? Are you still writing?
No, I do know. I very much know. Actually, Ali's working on it with me, which is very exciting. We've got our first big rehearsal tomorrow.
Oh, amazing.
I'm very excited about it. It's called I Kiss the Music. And I'm playing a character who's on an arena tour to mostly 35-seater venues. So it's going to be fun, hopefully.
It's so inspiring. And the songs are brilliantly powerful and silly. It's such a brilliant balance. You know, it really feels like you're like Lady Gaga up there.
It all occurred because I got commissioned to write a song for the Piñata. We're doing a Eurovision takeover. So last year it was in the Clapham Grand Theatre, and they were like, we need an opening anthem if we're going big. Can you write it? And I just, honestly, I had the best time. I was like, I need to make whatever this is a show so that I can just pretend I'm a pop star.
What was the song?
It was called I Kiss the Music. So I was like, it's got to be the name of the show because that's where it all stemmed from.
It sounds as though you kind of find what feels good to you and then follow that pathway. Since playing Baby Jesus and having that thrill at the top of the tower.
I'm very flexible with like, oh, I'm enjoying doing this, I'll do more of this at the moment. And I guess that's the freelancer lifestyle is very fortunate, allows you to do that. I love acting and doing musicals and everything. I just also really like writing stuff and being silly, so it works really well together.
And can you tell us a bit about your process of writing music? Is that a chaotic thing? Ideas just come to you? Do you sit down and say, right, I'm going to create this today?
It's probably more in the chaos vein than anything else. I think I have quite strict rules in that I'll come up for a concept of something and I'll write whatever words or lines come to mind. But when I feel inspired to write the song, I'm quite strict. I only allow myself 20 to 30 minutes to write a song. And my theory is if I can't write a catchy hook, melody, chorus in that time, then it's probably not very catchy.
Right, yeah.
I'm probably overthinking it. So then I just, I spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes, make a little demo, and then leave it. And then the next day, if I can remember it, I know it's catchy.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And if I can't, then I go, okay, I'll come back to that when I feel like I want to work on that song again. And in this show, I brought back a song I wrote maybe 6 years ago, which just I couldn't get to work. And then I was like, I'm ready to go back in with this song because the melody's always been in my head. So I was like, I know it's catchy, it just the lyrics didn't work. And I rewrote all the lyrics and now I'm feeling, well, we'll find out tomorrow what Ali thinks.
Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't work still.
Duncan, you've been writing recently. How does that compare to your creative process?
I think you have to trust your own ear, don't you? If I don't remember it, then probably nobody else will either.
Yeah.
Whereas if it sticks in your mind, it might stick in somebody else's.
And I think from coming from improv backgrounds as well, your gut always can pick out what chords good to come next, you know, where the melody kind of needs to go naturally because you've already trained that part of you to do that live on the spot. So I always think if you're then overthinking it, that's going to slow that process down. Whereas most of my best songs I write, I'm just at the piano, put my voice recorder on and I'm like, blah, 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 and then I'm like, oh, done a whole song just without writing anything down yet.
Amazing, yeah. It's like you're sort of bypassing the intellectual part of it. It's like what was my subconscious got inside it and try and get that out.
And then you can go back and be like, okay, Katie, this makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, you need to be harsh with your own work and be prepared to edit.
I always cut the songs in half if I can.
Right.
I'll write a song and then go back and be like, can I cut it in half?
Apparently ABBA had this way of writing songs. Have you heard this? That what they would do is write a chorus and sort of make it as fun and catchy as they possibly could, and then say, right, that is now the verse. And I've now got to write a chorus that is catchier than what I've already written. And that's why they are so incredibly catchy, because they just do it backwards and like, I'm just thinking of this as a chorus right now. So it's going to be like full on and energized and catchy. And then like, now I need to top myself.
Incredible.
Isn't it?
They're like shaking it down even more every time to really find out what it's about for the chorus hook.
Yeah.
I love
So
it.
good.
Wow. That's why every lyric sounds like it could be a title as well.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And every melody is like, yeah, I'm already like straight into the song.
That's great. Oh, wow.
Do you write the lyrics and melody together?
Yes. I've just started playing with going ba-da ba-da every now and then as a way of speeding up some of the writing process, because I think I'd sing ba-da ba-da for the amount of syllables I think I need.
Right.
And then I can go back and write that line. But that stemmed from my friend who is a musician, and that's how he writes. He actually doesn't really write lyrics and melody together. He'll write the melody first and sing. If a word feels right, he'll sing that, but the rest of the time it's kind of ba 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 da ba da ba da, and then go back and put lyrics on, which astounded me when I first saw him do it. That's not how, because normally I'm just doing both at the same time, and then in the voice recording I'll be laughing. I'll be like, that was stupid. So when I listen back, I get all my annotations as well, going, don't sing that in the actual thing.
I think Bono and The Edge have a similar process.
Right.
They kind of write in a sort of nonsense language with sort of
yeah.
with sort of thoughts and words half formed, and then when it's working for them, they then sort of change it, tidy it up into actual language. But they have, I forget the word they have for it, but there's a sort of gibberish language they write in, and then eventually they solidify the words when they're happy with the tune.
And do they both do music and lyrics?
I can't remember.
Fair.
It was actually in that book, the Song of Spider-Man.
Amazing book about the creation of the Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark musical on Broadway,
wow.
famously a very troubled production with massive cast injuries and all the rest of it. This book is written by the book writer Glenn Berger, who just is a really great writer, and so the book is like really readable and really fun, and it's just him like really delving straight into just the chaos of creating this musical along with his heroes Julie Taymor and Bono and The Edge. Best book on musical theatre I've read. I think.
Yeah, I've read it 3 times. I've got a bit obsessed with it. I spent a lot of my career working on disastrous productions. It was just so validating to realise, oh, this happens at that level too. It's like, that's exactly like that show I took to Skegness once, just with sort of 3 extra zeros on the budget. Yeah. On the losses, rather.
You've been writing the lyrics for the show you're writing at the moment as well, Duncan, have you?
But I think I've been working with a similar process to what you were describing, just sort of organically, just seeing what works, sort of, probably tune first, but lyrics shortly after. But I found, because I've written before in collaboration and found that, looking back, a less satisfactory process. It's like you're trying to make one thing fit another thing, rather than actually creating it as a whole.
When I'm collaborating, I kind of need to be in the same room or space with the person or people that I'm collaborating with, so that it feels like it's coming out of the same thing. I tried to collaborate with my friend over FaceTime, and it was really frustrating to me, because the sound blocks if someone's making a noise, and I wanted to be over the top while he was playing and singing and be like, oh, and then do this, woo. But you just couldn't do that. I was like, I just want to be there.
Going back to your show that's streaming now on ITVX.
Yes.
How did that come about? Is that something that you filmed with an aim to streaming? Was it a show that got filmed and then got picked up?
As with most of my life, a kind of accident, because I did my debut show at Edinburgh Fringe in 2022 at the Pleasance. So it's called Disco Ball. And Next Up Comedy, who are a comedy streaming platform, they were like, we're going to film some shows. Would you like yours to be filmed? And I was like, yes, please. And obviously with that in mind, that was just for a live stream one-off initially, but I thought that would be great because I built up, doing some Twitch stuff, and I thought some people had mentioned they couldn't come to Edinburgh, and then you could have captions on it, which I couldn't afford to get in the venue. So I was like, this ticks loads of my boxes, and a live stream, great. And then it went really, really well, and they said, we're going to re-stream, do another Fringe Rewind, and we'll re-air it for another week. And I was like, great, fantastic. And then they let me be involved in the editing process of it, because I was like, oh, if they've still got it, maybe I can have a copy of it. And then they were like, do you want this to go on the platform properly? And I was like, yes, please. And the ITVX thing was through Next Up. I don't think I had any hand in it at all. I think ITVX selected some shows they wanted.
Great.
And the first I heard of it was when my friend sent me a photo of the ITVX do you want to stream Disco Ball? And I was like, what? And then the same with British Airways. My friend sent me a photo, and it was so... It's been so cool because on the first article, my photo was at the top, and I was like, but this is so wild to me because I was just in like a small venue. I had a really nice fringe, but it wasn't like a huge smash blockbuster extravaganza like some people had. I just had a really nice venue, really lovely audience, just a lovely, lovely time. And so, so it's been just pure luck that all happened.
So great.
So to me, really random, especially British Airways.
Are you not tempted to take a British Airways flight?
Just to see, I was like, who's
and
this?
recommend it,
And just be watching it. That's it just tickles me that people can choose to watch that while flying.
Radio show from a long time, from 2010.
Oh, that's been played on...
occasionally pops up on BA.
Amazing.
Very strange. The 30-minute, 15-year-old version of our show.
I'm going on a flight on Wednesday to Munich for something I'm very excited and scared about, which is the Impro European Masters.
Oh, amazing.
Which is like a theatre sports championship of improvisation.
Amazing.
It's going to be wild. So my husband John and our good friend Chris Mead and I are going as a team of 3 to represent England, which is just insane. Thanks.
It's a very polite round of applause, but it's deeply felt.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's the only reason I brought it up as well. So I'm glad the applause happened. But yeah, it's going to be great, and it's this thing that they do in Germany where countries from all over the world submit teams, and then it's really football-y. I think it's sponsored by FIFA, and it's really like go team. You know,
you have a Team GB outfit.
Yeah, we actually have
squad.
a football strip to wear,
wow.
which is just mad. Yeah.
I was recently playing for the French language equivalent of that, sponsored by the Quebec Mission in London, and they host an annual gig here in West London. French-speaking improv teams from all over the world come and compete in a similar format, except the aesthetic is hockey rather than football. They all sort of dress up as sort of hockey teams with referees and everything.
Yeah.
And so they'll typically be a team. There's a very big French-speaking improv community in London. And so there'll be a French-speaking group from London, and then typically one from Belgium or Switzerland, and always one from Quebec, from Montreal. So they sort of compete in this sort of aggressive yet good-natured format, entirely in French.
Who knows how many of these there are in different languages across the world, but using different national sports.
Yeah, is hockey the national sport of France?
Canada, French-speaking Canada.
Oh, sorry,
definitely.
okay, great.
Presumably ice hockey. They don't go as far as the helmets.
It'd be difficult to read facial expressions, wouldn't it?
But I'd like to see them try.
Yeah, me too.
I'd imagine it would be similar to, I don't know if you remember in the part of lockdown where we all had to wear those clear shields.
Yeah, there's a welder's mask.
Visors, yeah.
We all had to tilt our heads back so that the sound could poke out the bottom. It was so you couldn't see anyone's faces because you just saw the light reflected back at you.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a similar experience with performing our improv musical meters apart, wasn't it, initially, when we first set up those live streams?
And indeed, when we did our outdoor gigs, I mean, initially the things that came back from venues were like, when you're singing, you can be 3 meters apart. When you're speaking, you can be 2.5 meters apart. It's like, there is no way I'm gonna, in the heat of improvising, I'm going to be able to calculate this 50 centimeter difference.
I don't know if you've noticed, but our brains are kind of busy right now.
Busy right now.
It's nice to be back on stage normally, isn't it? Connecting with people again. And you love doing that, Katie, don't you? You know, you're still in musicals now, aren't you?
Yeah, still doing shows. I'm just about to start a kids musical, actually, which is based on a book. It's called A Birthday for Bear.
Oh, lovely.
The auditions were hilarious. And I was just like, even on the self-tape, my dad helped me with the self-tape by reading the role of the bear. And I was just got the giggles so much. And then I went in for the in-person audition, and I just was like guys, I need to know how this show ends. You've only sent me 2 scenes. I need to know what happens to Bear at the end. So yeah, it's been really fun so far.
That's so great. Where's that happening?
That's happening upstairs at the Gatehouse.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and there's lots of morning and lunchtime shows, so it's right for the youngsters that it's targeted at, and I'll be playing the mouse.
Very nice.
Thank you. And we're doing a show together as well.
Yeah.
A musical. We did a workshop of it at the Other Palace earlier this year, and it was so funny. It's called a Jaffa Cake musical.
Yeah.
Tell us about the Jaffa Cake musical.
It is the story of the 1990s court case where they were debating, is it a cake or is it a biscuit?
It's very much a courtroom drama that just happens to be hilarious in its base subject. And it's just literally that case played out as an opera, essentially. And I remember Sam, who wrote it before we did the workshop, was like, I don't know what kind of people are coming to watch it. Let's find out. And I was like, I bet it's going to be all judges and lawyers. And on the last show we did, there was 19 tax judges in the audience. You just couldn't write it. It was so silly. And they were like, we're tax judges. They needed to tell us about it. So I can't wait for Edinburgh to work on that again.
Yeah, it's going to be such fun.
So silly.
Are you choreographing, directing, Ali? What's
Directing. Yeah. And it's really great because it's short and it's simple and it's in what it is, but it's quite emotional at points, and it's real laugh a minute stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's very, very funny and silly.
And from a performer's point of view, really, really fun. I'll be playing lots of different roles, and my main role is the baddie, the tax man. But then I get to pop up in most of the other songs, just doing something ridiculous.
So great, really utilising all your regional accents.
Well, yeah, that's it. Check those off on Spotlight. Play regional accent bingo. It's just it was a blast doing it for the week in January. So I can't wait to do it for longer.
Yeah, it was such fun. It was during my panto run that I was doing it in the mornings and then going to do 2 or 3 shows sometimes in the afternoons. And it was just a wild time of like pure joy of 3 hours with these guys in the morning, and then whiz to Southend and get on stage and do Jack and the Beanstalk. It was just such a fun, silly time.
Yeah.
Just like laughter ringing in your ears for the whole of January. You don't often get that in the month of January, do you?
No.
So it was joyful.
It was non-stop shenanigans in the rehearsals as well, because it was just it's an opera score, so everything was sung. So it's like poor Bianca, I don't know how she managed to teach us like 40 songs or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And we were like, how have we learned this much music? It was amazing.
Is there a musical out there that you're desperate to be in one day?
Do you know what? I'm loving a lot of the new musicals that have come out recently, because they're really tapping into, they've thought about the comedy, and it's so funny and so good musically. So shows like Operation Mincemeat and the Police Cops musical, I love that one. There's just so many that keep popping up that I hope get longer runs and get to become more established, because it's so worth it, isn't it?
And we're recording the day after the Olivier Awards, where Operation Mincemeat won Best New Musical.
Yeah, as they rightly should.
And Best Supporting Actor, I think, for Showstopper Podcast alumnus, Jack Malone.
It's been, I think, really nice from a person that works in musical theatre in the UK to see a new show by a new team be so successful.
Yeah.
And the show's amazing. I think that's been another part of the success story, is everyone's rooting for it to do really well, because we're like, yay, like British theatre is cool, like look at this amazing thing. So yeah.
Would you like to play a game, Katie Pritchard?
I've just spotted you've got some apparatus.
Yes, I have. I've got my cards here. Now, confusingly, the questions that I'm going to ask are not the answers are not on these cards.
Right.
These cards, the purpose of them is just for you to count how many you win.
Okay.
So these are just score tokens?
They're just score tokens. Would have been
Okay.
a much more concise way to have put that across. Okay, so what's going to happen is I'm going to read out a line of dialogue or a lyric from a musical, and I'd like you to quick fire answer which musical you think it's from. So
Great.
we'll probably need a buzzer sound for
Okay,
each of you.
great.
Okay.
So let's hear some buzzers. We'll begin with Katie. Kaka! Nice, classic Kaka. And great, and Duncan. On brand,
Absolutely,
Duncan, if
very
I may
good,
say.
very good.
And Andrew.
Excuse me.
Oh, very good. Okay, excellent. So here comes the first one. We'll start nice and easy with "You're never fully dressed without a smile." Duncan.
That's from Annie.
Yes, it is from Annie.
Very
There's
good.
your score token.
I did that. Actually, did that as part of a musical theatre review in Shanghai last year.
Okay.
Some very, very energetic Chinese children.
Question 2. Everyone deserves the chance to fly.
Excuse me.
Yes, Katie Pritchard.
Wicked.
Very good. Quick off the mark there.
Yes, get in.
Wow. I'm noticing a little competitive edge already, Katie.
You want a revolution. I want a revelation.
Kaka!
Yes, Katie.
Is it Book of Mormon?
It's not, I'm afraid. It's not Book of
You want a
Mormon.
revolution. I want a revelation. That's very familiar.
Yes. Oh, yes, Duncan.
I'm just going to guess Hamilton because
Yes,
the
it is
revolution.
Hamilton.
The revolution.
Yes, it
Nicely done, DWA. Question 4. You cannot just believe part way. You have to believe in it all.
Kaka!
Yes, Katie.
Is this one Book of Mormon?
Yes, it is.
I knew if I said it enough, it would be one.
It's from the introduction to I Believe, isn't it?
There you go, Duncan.
I think it is,
really actually knows the answer, not just guessing.
Okay, question 5. Nothing's going to change if you don't change it.
Kaka!
Yes, Katie.
Matilda.
I'm sorry, it's not Matilda.
I don't
Nothing's
know
gonna
that at all.
change if you don't change it.
At this stage, I'll take a guess from either of you.
Well, I'm sure you will if we could think of something to guess.
Guess Footloose?
It's not Footloose.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I'll guess Kinky Boots.
I'm sorry, it's not Kinky Boots. It's 9 to 5.
9 to 5. Oh.
Oh.
You just gave me a point for that. Ali just gave me a score token, which
Sorry,
he's
I
now
did.
retracting.
Well, I've taken it back and snatched it away.
Excuse me, is it 9 to 5?
Yes, it is 9 to 5. Edit. I'll go eat some breakfast and then I'll change the world.
Oh, that's very familiar as well.
Yes.
Thoroughly Modern Millie?
No, sorry. Duncan's out of the running for this one.
I think Ali's ramped up the difficulty
Yeah,
of
this is
the
tough.
game this week. This is much more difficult than usual. Mm-hmm. I'll go eat some breakfast and then I'll change the world.
Which character does both those things?
Does both those things?
Yeah.
Oh, that clue's driven me away from what I,
I
was
mean,
going to
most
say.
people eat breakfast, to be fair.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I was going to say Legally Blonde.
It's not Legally Blonde.
That's what I was thinking, because they might eat breakfast in the show like
Yeah.
that. I'm going to make a random guess. The Boyfriend.
It's not The Boyfriend, it's Hairspray.
Hairspray.
Team.
Oh,
Hairspray.
Obviously.
Great. Okay, question 7. I may be small, but I've got giant plans to shine as brightly as the sun. It's a tricky one. It's lesser known.
I mean, small. Is being small an integral part of the show?
I would say so in this one, yeah.
And it's a lesser known show.
Shall I give you a clue?
Yeah.
The smallest of 4. She is the smallest of 4. Yes, Duncan.
It's not a Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe musical,
Not
is it?
Good guess.
No doubt listeners are tearing their hair out
Well,
at
mate-
our stupidity.
Maybe. No, not stupidity. Just it is a tricky one. Shall I tell you?
Go on.
It's Little Women.
Ah.
Of course. I have a heart like the sea. A million dreams are in me.
Million dreams are in me. Could you just, excuse me?
Yes, Andrew.
Miss Saigon.
Yes, it
I
is.
had to sing it to work it out.
Very good.
Could
Question-
Jesus John who's she? Dum, bum, ba-dum.
Strut downstage.
Yeah.
I want you to know the time that we've spent, how great it's been, how much it's meant. If you hear this in a squeaky American accent, that might help.
Can you say it again?
I want you to know the time that we've spent, how great it's been, how much it's meant.
Kaka!
Katie,
Little Shop of Horrors.
Not, I'm
Oh, I
afraid.
said squeaky.
they're covered in felt.
Excuse me.
Yes, Andrew.
I have a new cue.
Very good.
I feel dirty accepting that point. That was a very big clue.
And the final question.
Oh, and look, and the score is 2-2 at the moment.
Oh, it's
2-2.
tied.
So the final question, I'm sure everyone will pounce on this, is always look on the bright side of life. Duncan.
Spamalot.
Hooray!
Well done, Duncan.
The winner is Duncan Walsh-Atkins.
Well,
How do you feel, Duncan?
Final, I nearly said Life of Brian.
There was a brief concert Life of Brian musical. Fun fact.
There we are.
The end. Great, no one found that interesting. All right.
Thank you.
Where was it on and who was in it? All
I
the
was just trying to think what other
No,
songs.
you can't pretend you're
I
interested
can't
now.
backtrack now. I'm
I was
sorry.
just trying to think what other songs there are in it. It must be a fairly
It was
short
sort of
concert.
it was kind of done like a sort of cantata was the idea. So it was like concert staged, and I think maybe like partly sung through. No one's ever heard of it, and no one's interested in it. So let's move on.
Well, talking of moving on, shall we sing a song, Katie?
Yes, please.
Could we sing a song about manifesting dreams?
Yep.
The reason being because I saw your disco ball show
Yeah.
and wished, I want to work with that lady one day. And now, like a year later, we're working on 2 projects, which is so nice.
If I dream it, I can do it. Just look at me now.
If I dream it, I can be it, yeah. I'll get there somehow.
If I work real hard and I walk real fast, I'll get there somehow quicker.
And if I keep my legs moving, if I don't stop, that dream won't disappear.
I'm gonna manifest it, manifest it. I'll manifest it, yes I will. I'm gonna manifest it, I'll manifest it, oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna manifest it,
Manifest it, manifest it, yes I will. I'm gonna manifest it, oh yeah.
yeah. You know, when I was a little girl, I had so many things I wanted to be.
But I didn't know if I could do them. I would just sit in the corner and weep.
Yeah, sometimes fear took over, but now, looking back,
I'm not afraid anymore to
No.
say what I want. I
Yeah.
just go out there and I do it. I'm gonna manifest it, manifest it. I'll manifest it, yes I will.
I will.
I'm gonna manifest it, I'll manifest it, I will.
yes, I will, I will.
I'm gonna manifest it, manifest it, manifest it, yes I will.
yes,
I'm gonna manifest it, manifest it, yes I will. I'm gonna manifest it, yes I
This is the credits, baby.
The Showstopper podcast is hosted by Ellie James and Andrew Pugsley. This month's guest was me, Katie Pritchard. Duncan Walsh-Atkins was on keys. It was mixed and edited by Andrew Pugsley. Production support from Susanna Rosenthal, Jenny Amy, Kaylin Kine, Ellie Grice for Something for the Weekend. Find us on all social channels and our website, www.showstopperthemusical.com. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to you each and everyone.
Mm.